All right, let's get the hive open. This is where we got our sugar syrup, so I don't really need to smoke anything here. And as anticipated, the girls have emptied the bottle completely. So I'm gonna remove the bottle because when I do look under the cover, I want to make sure my queen is not there. Maybe a couple of bees. Come on, girl, that's it, they're gone. And now I'm ready to open this up, so I will smoke a little bit the entrance, just blow a little bit of smoke in here, and I'll remove that cover. Wow, and we do have now a lot more bees than last time. This is beautiful. All right, so quick look in there. The queen is marked in blue, so I should be able to spot her right away if she was here. She is not. I don't see any hive beetles, small hive beetles. That's a good sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post these right in front of the entrance. Those bees, which some of them are probably nurse or babies, don't really know how to fly good yet. They will be able to walk back all the way up to the entrance. So quick recap on this beehive. I got that swarm back in April last year. It's been 11 months. I put it into a nuke. 2 months later, I had already a double nuke, double stack with 10 frames, so I transferred it to this deep hive box. What happened after that? The colony started growing, and remember, at the beginning it was just a small swarm. It started doing really good. I did mark the queen in green, and they were doing excellent all the way until October. Now, coming October, the colony starts struggling, and I used to be able to see a lot of eggs, a lot of brood, some resources, everything. And in October, things started going down to the point that this colony was really declining pretty quickly. So I was a little desperate, but I went back a couple of weeks later, and out of the blue, I found 4 queen cells. So the bees had realized that there was a problem with their queen, and whatever amount of eggs that she had laid after that, they did decide to make another queen. They knew they had to replace her. Those cells emerged. That was in November 2nd when I had the 4 cells. December 1st, there's a new queen in the hive. I find her, I mark her with a green dot, and she started laying. Now, at this point of the year, I'm a little concerned because I'm not sure exactly how good the drones were for that time. So I'm still hoping that they're going to be doing good because they made the right decision and replaced their queen. But as the time goes by, that takes us to January. Everything's still good. January 6th, I open. I do find a beautiful larvae, but then by the end of January, there was no eggs, no queen to be found, and that colony once again looked like it was on the verge of collapsing. So at this point, January 29th of this year, 2025, I decide now it's time for me to take action. I took 2 frames, that black one and that medium frame, each one coming from a different hive. Put them in there. They were full of eggs, larvae, nurse bees, and a little bit of resources. And I left it alone. And that was about a week later that I just opened up to take a quick look, and I did see about 4 to 5 queen cups being drawn into queen cells. They all had larvae in there. By February 23, there was the new queen. She has taken her flight. She came back. She was mated. I found her, grabbed her, put a blue dot. Remember now 2025, the color is blue. Put her back in the hive. This was about just under 4 weeks ago. So now, today we want to see how this hive is doing. All right, now as we're moving toward the third frame, I'm hoping, I'm guessing I'm gonna start seeing some brood. So those girls are really, really gentle. So we look down in there. There is not much to see. This is pretty empty. That's an older comb, so maybe they decide not to use it, because on the back of the frame they did put nectar and they started capping some of that honey. So I'm guessing that that older comb, that darker comb, they don't like much. They might be cleaning it to get it ready for something, or they might decide not to use it. So at some point I may have to replace that frame and give him something a little fresher. All right, so no brood till now. Finger crossed, we're gonna find some beautiful brood right now. Put these away so I can hold that frame in a way so you guys gonna see. So we have more bees on this side, and look at this. Look at the color, at that beautiful pollen. There's a lot of nectar. There is a lot of larvae down here. Pretty shiny, pretty healthy. But really what I want you to see is all that beautiful bright yellow pollen. There's a little bit of white pollen too, but they have it all around the frame, surrounding the capped brood and the brood that is now getting a little older, on their way to get capped. No queen on this frame, but what I'm seeing here looks pretty good. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so this is one of the frames that I had taken out from a different hive, and look at this. Cap brood on this side, some larvae in the bottom, some nectar, and all the center of that frame is full of nectar. That's why the queen hasn't been laying anything in there. There is some more brood on the edges, which usually you see more to the center. And on this side, more brood, all capped. Turn it that way, and if I look down with the sun down on those cells, I'm looking for eggs, and at this point I do not see any. So I don't want to get stressed out about it, but I would like to start seeing some eggs in those empty cells. You move the girls out of the corner. All right, this is the second frame that I had brought in with eggs, larvae, cap brood, a lot of nurse bees, a little bit of resources. So those two frames are the one that I put in about almost a month ago. Actually, at the end of January, on January 29th. So it's been a little bit over a month. And looking over here, this frame is more full. They do put the brood on the outside though, which is kind of weird. And here too, no signs really of the queen. And now if I do look into those cells, I do see some eggs and tiny larvae. So I will take some pictures to show you guys. is. Here is the queen walking down the bottom. She's not running though. What she's doing is she's just going and checking out those empty cells. And there she goes. There she goes, laying an egg. She reared back into that cell, checked it out just before it. Really, at this point, I've seen what I need: eggs, larvae, brood, resources. But I'm going to continue going over because I really want to know how good this hive is doing, knowing that it struggled so much for almost a year now. All right, this was one of the frames that I transferred when I said when I move this frame up to the super, I will cut up all that bottom wax. It's kind of old, they're not really doing anything in it. There is a lot of nectar here, it's pretty shiny. Beautiful brood, all capped on this side. And on this side, there is some nectar that's going to be capped pretty soon. There is some larvae there, pretty young larvae, so that's pretty good. And let's go to the next one. This bee right here is bringing some pollen. Her pollen baskets are full of that white pollen. And this frame does have some nectar a little bit on top, a little bit of bee bread. Again, nectar all the way up top. If I look down into those cells, I do not see any eggs, and all those cells are empty. So now I start worrying a little bit, and what it tells me is that in a couple of weeks, if I don't see any more brood, I may have to replace that queen. And the way that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this the same way I did this time, except that this time, because we will be at the end of March or April, there's going to be a lot of drones around, and I will get the queen of eggs from that hive that I know that the bees are excellent, super well tempered, where the queen is laying crazy all the time. That hive that I'm talking about, every other day there's orientation flights happening, and every single one of those orientation flights is a whole cloud of bees. It'll go on anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, but that's really an excellent queen with such good genetics to take eggs from. And from there, the bees will decide, and if they decide that they're going to replace her, out of those eggs and tiny larvae, they will pick who they want to be the next generation, the next mama, the next mother to them all. From there, I'm certain that this colony will start growing really expansionally. All right, you get the idea. And I will need to put a honey super pretty quickly after that. In the meantime, I'm not gonna add any more bugs, because even though there are more bees in here, there is still room for them to expand. And if they decide that they don't want to use those frames for some reason, because they might think the comb is a little too old, I may have to come back, pull those frames out, give them new frames that they will have to draw all the way with wax. But apparently they don't like these. It's dark, it's old, and they don't seem to like it, and the queen is not laying in there. But there's absolutely nothing except some bee bread all the way up top here, and that bee bread may already have been on that frame when I put it in that double nuke, trying to give him some space. If I look in the back of this one, all those cells are also empty, so there's plenty of room for the queen to lay if she wanted to. There's plenty of room for them to put nectar, and they're deciding not to do it. So I may have to come back in a few days, check it out. If there's still no eggs in there, I will just take them out and replace them. And on this one that has a fresher comb, a younger comb, you see the color? They're not doing anything with it either. And the queen is not laying in it. This is still the same stage as last time. Let's see what happens. So 11 months after initially catching that swarm, those bees are still struggling. We're at the time now that they should be occupying most of those frames, and they are not. Is the queen too weak? Is it because she was mated too early at the beginning of the year and there was not enough drones out there, or the quality of the drones were not good, or the genes of the queen are not good enough? Can't tell. That means I'll have to come back shortly, take another look at all that, and just make a decision and let those girls make a decision. So let's see what happens. We'll come back soon, and I might do a very quick update on this colony. All right, friends,